A new Digimon game just dropped, and it's been a breath of fresh air for the series and creature collectors in general, but it's not without some small sighs. I'm a huge fan of the Digimon anime, watching it during my childhood years. Digimon and Digimon Adventure was an amazing series that still lives in my head rent-free like Dragon Ball Z did. I had never played a Digimon game until Cyber Sleuth dropped, and even though the story was a slow burn, I loved it and was left wanting more. This led me to trying out Digimon World Order, but that one did not stick with me as much. Then we got the trailer for Digimon Time Stranger, and this looked really close to Cyber Sleuth, so it was an instant wishlist for me. Finally, the demo dropped and I got to try it out for myself. I will be giving some small spoilers for the beginning sections of the game. Right away, the story hooked me with a giant wall blocking off sections of the city and people outside protesting. We then meet up with somebody who somehow knows us and thrusts us into a world-altering event before we are yeeted across time 10 years before the event happens. The hook was effective. This is when the game slows down a bit and introduces you to its various mechanics, and while at first glance it may seem simple, it is far from it. The first thing you learn is how to get more Digimon. This is the most important mechanic for every creature collecting game, and the way they've implemented it here is pretty true to its name. Every Digimon you defeat adds the Digimon's specific data to your Digi device. Once you reach 100% for that specific Digimon, you can then convert it into a Digimon you can use. It gets slightly more in depth though by telling you that if you wait till 200%, then it will be converted with stronger stats and talent levels. If you're a min-maxer, you're about to love the next section as it's a doozy, but if you don't care about the nitty-gritty of making your Digimon stronger, you can just go ahead and skip on to the next section. Talent levels are basically a level cap telling you how far a Digimon at its current rank can level. For example, if you have a Digimon at the rookie rank and its talent level is 13, then 13 is the strongest that it can grow. This is where Digi evolutions come into play. Digimon can be digivolved into stronger forms once it meets certain stat requirements. This might be 700 intellect or 550 SP. The Digi evolution menu will tell you what the requirements are. Unlike Pokemon, Digimon have branching paths for evolution. If you have never played a Digimon game before or watched the anime, this means that if a Charmander was a Digimon, then he wouldn't be locked into a Charmeleon. He would actually have 4 different forms to evolve into. Some branching evolution paths have item requirements though, and you may be waiting a while for that Evo if that's what you're wanting to do. The excellent thing is you can build the ultimate team that you want, as the party size in Digimon is 6, with 3 of them being active Digimon. This lets you be dynamic by swapping out Digimon that are more effective to what you are fighting, but we'll get into the alignment soon. The stat min-maxing gets much deeper when you begin to tap into Digi evolutions and personalities. Every Digimon has a certain personality, and you can check this on their status screen. Each personality is tied to a specific set of stats and gets boosts for those stats. This means if you have visited a Digimon wiki to map out your preferred evolution path, you'll likely want to change the Digimon's personality to match the evolution type you're going for. You can do this by training them at the Digifarm or speaking to them and making selections to shift their personality towards it. Now let's talk about evolutions. Digivolving a Digimon into a stronger form to get better stats is not the only method of making a Digimon more powerful. This is where the nitty-gritty of min-maxing comes into play, and you can actually de-digivolve your Mon into its weaker form. You may be asking why we would ever want to do something like this. The answer lies in stat transfers that happen between evolutions. When you open up the interface, you will see a stat layout for that Digimon. All Digimon have base stats for each form that is set in stone and can be seen in white. The blue stats are bonus stats that are permanently transferred between each evolution. This effectively means by de-digivolving a Mon, you can transfer the bonus stats acquired to it. These bonus stats are gained by training on the farm and battling with Digimon in your party. The benefit here is when you de-digivolve, or even when you digivolve to a stronger form, it resets the level of that Digimon. This means if a Digimon goes backwards from rookie rank to in training rank, then you can get more bonus stats by re-leveling the rank, not only increasing its talent point level cap, but also making sure that the next evolution is stronger. Just remember that the bond you have with the Digimon determines how many times you can do this, and there's a hard set limit of 10% on each transfer. Now let's dive into the attributes. Like the Pokemon series, each Digimon has an element or elements they're weak to. This will give you a bonus to the damage you do and will be indicated by a percentage. Once you know a Digimon's weakness, you will see an arrow when selecting the element in the action screen indicating if this is going to be an increase, a decrease, or just do normal damage. In Digimon Time Stranger, there is an additional attribute you must be aware of as well. The type. There are 3 types of Digimon: Virus, Vaccine, and Data. Virus is weak to Vaccine, Vaccine to Data, and Data to Virus. That means that even if you strike a Digimon's elemental weakness, it will have a reduced effect if the type matchup is not favorable. On the flip side, however, this means you can deal 300% damage by combining type weaknesses with elemental weaknesses. The next mechanic to add spice to it all is the agent skills. You get a talent point system to spin anomaly points on to increase the attributes of your Digimon. Each personality gets its own pool to spend points on. Every side quest and main story mission you do gives you these anomaly points. The combat system is like the last game in the series, turn-based. Nothing of significant difference here than any other turn-based system, but they did add cross skills to boost your Digimon attributes. There are also follow-up attack QTEs, and if you hit them they can award extra attacks along with buffs. They can also debuff the enemy or regenerate HP for your team. The boss encounters have various strategies, with some of them having build-up attacks and breakable points on their body to add to the system. Coming back to the story, it definitely did a good job of drawing me in, but this is where I had a small sigh with it. This is just my own personal preference, but silent protagonists in voice-acted games are kinda weird. The only one it really works for, in my opinion, is Zelda. Thankfully it's not too bad here, but I could definitely use less lines from Minori about how good of a person I am. The story bits can get a bit cringy, but this is a Digimon game, so it is what it is. Expect a slow grind like usual. As far as the options go, we get plenty of goodies, from costumes to the choice to rename and even repick your protagonist appearances from the menu. So if you were stuck on which protagonist to pick when you join the game, then don't worry. There's also a card game here where you can collect cards and battle opponents, but I didn't have much interest in it. The mechanics seemed kinda simple, and oftentimes it came down to RNG on which cards were picked out of the cards that you owned. Now let's talk about some of the things I did not enjoy. You get introduced to an in-between corridor where the Digi Farm and the Outer Dungeon access is. However, you quickly find out Outer Dungeons are only for those who bought the DLC, and if that was bad enough, there's a shop right next to it where you can check all the DLC you don't own. Heck, it was even $30 just for the original anime music, and they even shortened a lot of them. This combined with the lack of options on where to insert the music at, and it left a lot of fans disappointed. Overall, however, I think this is a solid Digimon game and a creature collecting game in general. If you enjoyed Cyber Sleuth or like creature collecting games in general, this is an easy buy, and hopefully my explanation of the stat system helped you out. I think this is a good step in the right direction for Digimon, and I can't wait what's in store for the future. I give this a solid 7.5 out of 10. This would have been higher if not for the dumb DLC practices. But that's all for me for today. Thanks so much for dropping by. Dreas out.